Hello, hello, it's Simone. Welcome to my channel. Today I have something exciting to tell you. I am a member of the Stock Sketches design team for the next term, and I just showed you the sketch, and this is how I am going to work with it. I turned it around because I am going to scrapbook these four really dark photos. But they were taken by the three family photos were taken by my son or by the self timer. And then I had a snapshot from my phone where I took a picture of him setting up the camera and getting it all done. And now I'm just showing you the things that I'm working with. I went into my stash for this. And then I found this flare button that I wanted to use in another layout, I think for the Stash Bash YouTube hop. I will link the video right now, and you can go on over and look at that. But I didn't use the flare there, but Say Cheese worked really well with this layout. So I thought I might be able to use it. I went into my stash and looked at papers that I might use, and I came across this. This is from Dear Lizzie, and I had been hoarding this. It's a holographic paper, and I decided I was going to use it on this layout because in the sketch the scalloped paper is black, and so this just resembled the black or the darkness of the paper, and so I went that way. And then I just went through my papers, my full pattern papers, and looked for a paper that would work with this, and I pulled this one. This is from an older Studio Calico kit. And then I went through my scrap bin and just pulled out all the papers that would work with this color scheme. And to be honest, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with this layout, but it's not my favorite. And I totally know or get that I can't love all of my layouts, but this is the very first time that I just wasn't really very satisfied with the way it turned out. Or I am satisfied. I love that I used so much stash that I had like forever. So I made the mistake in the beginning of my scrapbooking career to buy a warehouse sale box. And those were products, old products, like distressed products, thickers that had been old for the past 5 years. And I received them in this warehouse sale box. And I hadn't actually been scrapbooking. I wanted to use those things for Project Life, but most of the things were too big. And so those were in my stash for about a year before I even started scrapbooking. And then they were so special, so different to my style. You will see a blue glitter alpha stickers that were like, those were the first stickers that I received. Like it was like, wow, there are stickers in my package. What? Blue glitter? So I was so disappointed by the warehouse sale box. And then I had all of that stuff in my stash forever. And now being able to use it all up or to get it used on this layout, that is something that I really love. But I think it's the dark photos. I have been scrapbooking a lot of photos that I took of my sons when they were younger, that I took with my DSLR. And I just have to say, well, even though those were taken with my DSLR as well, but my son isn't such a great photographer, I have to say that seeing those photos in comparison to my phone photos, and I have an iPhone 6S, so I'm not able to use the portrait mode. That's such a huge difference. I'm not really excited to scrapbook those phone photos anymore. So yeah, I'm trying to work with I don't use my DSLR anymore because it's very old and it's just not, um, I think it's done. So I have a Sony point and shoot, which takes really great photos, but I just need to use it more. So yeah. Okay, enough about the photos and the things that I don't like. What you can see when you watch this process video and when you look at the layout is that there is some like design principles, elements that you can use and you make a layout look cohesive, even though you might not, or in my case, I might not particularly care for it so much. So I started building this cluster at the bottom. I didn't really want to use a tag, but you will see in the end, I will actually pull out tags again that I had in my stash since 2015, and they will actually work. So I didn't like the cream uh, tag, so I took those printed ones, which I don't know. It just looked, it worked. And so I just used product that I didn't really care for. Maybe that's the reason why in the end I'm not too fond of the layout. I shouldn't say that all the time because actually I love the story and I love how it turned out and how it all came together. It went really easy. So again, the design principles that I was talking about. Well, using a sketch and putting a layout together using a sketch will guarantee you that you have balance on your layout. That is for sure. It's like making a commercial for sketches, but that is something that I realized. This is not something I haven't scrapbooked for photos on a layout ever before. I haven't made a design like that ever before. And I just looked at the sketch and took on the the main ideas from the sketch and look at the layout in the end, it works. So um, you don't have to know a lot about scrapbooking to scrapbook actually, and that's exactly the way I started scrapbooking. I participated in a sketch challenge by a German blogger. Yeah, so that was how I started scrapbooking, and that's how it opened the way into scrapbooking. And I still really love using sketches as layout starters because you don't have to think in the beginning. And the other thing that I did with this layout is that I used the same pattern papers and the same types of embellishments on each of my clusters. So I have this photo element on the bottom left, and I have used the exact same papers just in different sizes and values on the top cluster, and this makes the whole layout look cohesive. And then now I'm looking for a um, more. I needed something. I have is us, but then I need something else to create the title. So I'm looking for letter stickers that I can create the word this with. And as you can see now, I'm pulling out this old, old thicker set. It is from 2012. And yeah, that's as much info as I can give you because I clearly did not scrapbook in 2012 yet. I started with Project Life in 2014 in the late summer. Yeah. So then I went and looked at my embellishments that I have in my embellishment box, and I just pulled out everything that might work. I had those hearts, but they didn't really work on the layout. But those Cocoa Daisy puffy stickers, I actually again can't really tell you when I got it in a kit. I think it is from last fall, maybe October. Um, and as with the papers, again, I'm repeating the same elements in my clusters. So, like a couple of process videos ago, I created a layout where I built the whole photo cluster just to find out that if I have dimensional embellishments on top, I'm not really able to use to glue it down later on. So before I start gluing down all of my embellishments, I made sure I had that photo element on the background paper. So I'm using cameras, even though they are from different collections and from different designers. The blue ones are from the Amy Tan on a Whim collection, and that is actually a paper that I just cut out those cameras from. And the floral chipboard camera on the bottom is from the Chimel. I think it is the one before the Little by Little collection, so it is probably from the Starshine collection that came out last summer, so in the summer of 2016. And I'm using one camera in each of my embellishment clusters. So I have an embellishment cluster right where the title is, which is not as big and as maybe dimensional. Then I have an embellishment cluster right above. On the sketch there is actually the ampersand there, so that is where I created my second embellishment cluster. And then I created my third embellishment cluster on top of the right side of the layout. This is where a lot of empty space in my photo was, and this is where I placed the third embellishment cluster. I didn't place it in the bottom where the label is, and I'm struggling with this later on when I work on my journaling, but I think it works well. So right now the top embellishment or the top photo looks a bit strange, imbalanced, but I will change that later on. So I moved the flare down to the camera because the top embellishment cluster felt too heavy. I already had a chipboard sticker and a puffy sticker layered on top, and that just looked so heavy that I went ahead and placed the flare down where the chipboard camera was, because I didn't really have any other embellishments to go there. And so this embellishment cluster gets a bit more weight down there. And then I added two black labels, and I'm going to add my journaling in two different spots. Really didn't think that would work, but I actually wrote about how my son this summer, he had so many different projects and things he was working on, and the camera was one of those projects. So that is what I wrote up there. And then I wrote on the bottom about the way the fun we had when we took those selfies. And then I added the date to that chipboard label on the top left. It was empty and it was the perfect place for my date. And then I had this pink thing flying around, and I just added it there. And then I realized that I didn't have a string on my top tag, and I needed to change that. I didn't really like the way it looked without one. So here you can see the sketch again. This is the layout that I created from the sketch. I actually, right now that I'm looking at it, I really like it. I definitely take away from this is that I should only create with items that I really love. Check out the Stuck Sketches blog for more inspiration for this sketch, and we would love for you to join us this month and create a project based off this sketch. Be sure and link it up to Stuck Sketches for a chance to win a prize from one of our sponsors. I will see you next time. Until then, bye!